Hello, this is an overview of all the work that I did on my Alexis railroad in January of 2022. Some context to how this year started. January of 2022 was the month after, just a few weeks after, both my grandmother and our cat died. So I am taking the remains of flowers and spreading them around the railroad and stuff that were left over from the funeral. And that's how I started the year. Ain't that fun? But it's a year later. Now here's the real work. So I began building these cart frames, or continuing the work on these cart frames, to put my old lawnmower train wagons on. And I have at this time I had two lawnmower train wagons that had dry rotted tires, or tires that didn't hold air, just a pain to deal with. So I thought, well, I don't have to worry about dry rotted tires with these nice cast steel wheels. So I started putting together carts. Just took a bunch of flat bar, drilled a bunch of holes in it, and started bolting it together. Because for some reason I didn't feel like welding it all together. These frames, and I think I've mentioned this in plenty of other videos, the frames of the carts are dog kennel crates from Lowe's, which I used to work at Lowe's and may work at Lowe's again in the future. And I have a very large collection of them. And if you put an axle through it and stick one washer on each side of the axle and then a wheel on the outside of each one of those washers, it fits 2-foot gauge about as perfect as you can. So here I am making coupler pockets for the train carts. I bought very nice 2.5 inches equals 1 foot scale couplers from a place called Live Steam Station, and they are very high quality couplers, and I've read that they are interchangeable with RMI couplers and other couplers of the same scale. So if I can find a 2.5 inches equals 1 foot scale coupler that does link and pin, on the hunt for one of those for my motive power that I have now a year after I recorded this video. So I tested it out a little bit and paint everything, or prime it here. Weld together another one. So the couplers have a hole drilled in them, so you can just bolt it to whatever it is you're wanting to bolt it to. But I wanted to take advantage of the spring suspension, if you could call it that. What's the word for it? Draft gear, something along that terminology. Gives it a little cushion. I don't know if I ever gave credit in a video, but the outlet for my welder was welded together by my uncle, who I used to do some drag racing videos for. He's kind enough to wire all that up in 2019. Yep, a lot of priming and painting. This could get tedious after a while, I'm very sorry. So there's a house across the road, under construction. Now people are living in it. Now here's the last bit of track that I added before I dead-ended at the driveway. Now, when I recorded this, I was trying to make my tie plates, if you could call it that, out of steel bands that they wrap cross ties with. I have an abundance of that from Lowe's, and also you can find it if you wander around any railroad. Usually there's some left over after they've done some work. Making this train track out of weld pipe is overwhelmingly cheap. The track that I'm making in this video, if I remember correctly, the only thing that I had to pay for was the welding rods, because the pipe was donated to me, and I used steel strap, which was just scrap metal, as the plates, so just the screws and the welding rod. And I won't, even now I still won't cross the driveway, but it's going to be an endeavor, so I won't have the entire track done before I start blocking my parents' driveway for who knows how long. That way we can just install it in one afternoon. And here I am testing out the cart, and the switch works, but only with things with a really short wheelbase. Like, there were some who told me that you cannot make a switch out of pipe. It is too round. And they are not entirely wrong, but it does work. It just requires a wheelbase of less than about 30 inches. And having really large flanges, that helps. I don't think I ever put... I don't know if I put these videos on YouTube. I'm lumping all of my railroad stuff into one video for this. And look at that, that looks real nice. I'm sorry I never put this on proper. Now we have neighbors across the road, so I don't think I could record this now without getting a whole lot of weird looks. I mean, I probably get a weird look already, I just can't notice it. I don't think I've gotten my Thomas tent out and done this since I got back from the gorge and the neighbors moved in. Yeah, we really need a snow plow because it don't take much ice to derail on well pipe. There actually was a 2-foot gauge snow plow for sale a few years ago. Hate that I couldn't afford it. Well, I probably could have afforded it, but, you know. You can't buy everything you see. Now, somewhere in here, I think it was after the snow melted. Yep, I'm folding up my Thomas and going home. I think some of these are on YouTube or Rumble. Now somewhere in here... Oh, more coupler pockets. Here's putting it all together. Look at that. That's when I started drinking that microwavable coffee. Now, what's the company called? Folgers? Yeah, one of them companies. They make microwavable coffee bags, and it's supposed to be good for 8 ounces. And I discovered that if you boil the water, which it also says you can do, you can water it down and get about 40 ounces out of a bag. So that comes out to be like 5 cents a cup. So, let it not be said that I am not cheap. Yeah, here I am putting on my nice fancy $100 couplers onto my garbage train. That's how I can afford it. At least back then. What's funny is when I bought the couplers for this, each coupler was almost exactly $100 after shipping, if I remember right. And now they're $119 before any shipping. So... sad, sad, sad. I can't afford to be a railroader hardly. The wheels, when I bought these wheels, last time I bought wheels I think was in November of 2021. And they've gone up from $100 a wheel to $154 a wheel. They have bearings and everything and they fit on the axle. It's very perfect. But it's more expensive than it used to be, so I ain't bought any. I've gotten to the point where I'm taking wheels off of some things and putting them on other things. Yep, test running trains. Yeah, I got to kick cars some finally. Showing it off. Showing the efficiency that can be done in switching. And trying to record a video for that 2001 A Space Odyssey parody that I did. Which has like 60 views. Wow. That was totally worth all the effort. And then starting on the second cart. Didn't get a whole lot done in January. I mean, I know that there was a whole lot going on, even though I must say I was not employed besides YouTube during this month. So I was really lacking in excuses. I mean, it was cold, but almost the end of the month. And drilling or cleaning up my messes. A lot of metal shavings laying around. I think I addressed the camera and intended on making a video about it, but nope, lost to time. And here's a walk around the end results. One last look at all those lawnmower train wagons where they used to be parked. And there's the pile of potential train car frames just sitting there. And my work pit. I'm sorry. Been digging that mess for almost 2 years when this was recorded. Almost 3 years when I'm recording this audio. Recording this on January 31st, 2023. And, yep, a lot of it looks the same, I'm sad to say. One of these days get around to connecting the two sections of train track again. It's a lot cleaner now than it was a year ago. I still don't have that curve leveled out right to where nothing derails. My regular carts go through it with no issue, but the pedal cart, which I have built now in January of 2023, it derails going up the hill, not down the hill, most of the time. But we'll get to that later. End of the line. Well, not much really going on. I'm sorry if you suffered through all 13 minutes of this, hoping for a silly story. I probably should try to be more caffeinated when I record more of these, but this was a dull month, really. Wasn't until later that we got, wagons on carts and got to do switching and all sorts of cool things. I mean, I didn't even get the couplers put on. I'm just realizing that. Wow. Oh, I got the couplers put on. The Thomas cart. Ain't that pretty? Just because I just don't care for drawbars that much. Admire the pile, the heap, the garbage. Cleaned a lot of it up since then, but not all of it. Thank you for listening and watching to this, if you actually have. The few people out there who are so eager to learn the weird and wacky ways of me. I'll try to do better next time, but I've been saying that for how long?